studio. I'm Anissa Crespo, and on this episode of She Swaps, I am interviewing Lainne Love, who is an award-winning spiritual psychology coach and a best-selling author. Lainne, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am amazing. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day, and I'm here with you.
That is beautiful. I love it. So tell us a little bit about who you are, how you won your award, first of all, and how you came into your work, and then, of course, about your best-selling books.
Oh my goodness. Well, how I came into the award is funny. So I'd love to share that because it was one of those things, you know, how you get lots of questionable emails. And I thought it was one of those like, yes, if you just pay us however much money, then you can have this award. So I thought I was being spammed when I
Right.
when I got the notice for you have been nominated for this award. I was like, sure, where do I send the check? You know? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's a real thing. It's a legitimate award. Oh, isn't that nice that one person voted for me? Like that's really, really beautiful because it is. It felt like really, really heartfelt. That's when I got like, wow, it really is amazing to just be nominated because there are so many exceptional people in the world and it just feels nice to be recognized.
Sure.
And then the the host of the awards gala kept checking to make sure I was coming. And I just thought, wow, like what great service. They really, really care about whether or not you're going to be there. Like that's beautiful. And anyway, I decided that I should go. And I went and I won. There are over 60,000 voters. And
What?
it's a global it's a global award, so it was a big deal, a beautiful thing, beautiful recognition. And really I took that as my like divine guidance, divine intervention to like this is what I am because I didn't call myself a coach up to that point. I was always like a therapist, a healer, never so much a coach. I wasn't sure if I if I wanted to be that, if I saw myself as that, but I do now. I'm an award-winning coach. That's what the award was for.
Well, congratulations. That's
Um,
amazing. And yes, that is a very big deal. I mean, 60,000 voters, that's a lot of people. That is well done. I love it.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So you just never know, you know, when you're on your path and you're doing your thing, amazing, beautiful miracles can happen that just point you in the right direction and help to uplift you and help you to claim whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. Kind of like you in this podcast. Like, you know, you
Exactly.
didn't envision yourself doing it.
Not even for a quick second. It just sort of happened by accident, a happy little accident.
So that is my award. So I hope that that gives others the idea, the possibility that like all things are possible and we are being guided. So what do I do? I'm a spiritual psychology coach. And what does that mean? It just basically means that I like to infuse spirituality into the body of work that I do. And I specialize in helping people to transmute their challenges, transmute trauma. That's the big word these days. But yeah, transmute trauma, transmute your challenges, transmute your patterns so that you can start living that life that you have been really striving towards living. And beyond that, I love helping people step into their bigger mission. And that goes into my book. So my latest book was a collaborative book, a collaborative effort called A Bigger Mission. And there are 12 of us, 12 authors, who each wrote a story about a traumatic incident that they experienced in their life and what it took from them to overcome that. So it's really entertaining, really raw, really real stories, really vulnerable, because we all have challenges in our lives and we all have many dark moments, really, not just one. But we all have these experiences, and it just feels so great. It does to me, anyways, when I can not feel alone and be inspired by somebody else's triumph over a challenging situation, and to see how it is that they're thriving now and whatever that looks like to them. I mean, just being happy, being at peace, being successful, being abundant, being healthy. Like, what is that for you? Just knowing that they dug deeper within themselves and they didn't give up until they overcame that challenge. So I'm really motivated by that. I find people with dynamic stories so interesting and inspiring, and they are what helps propel me forward. So it was really extra special for me to get to put together a book that does just that, shares really exceptional stories of triumph.
Gosh, I just love that. I mean, you and I have a lot in common. One of the things I do and I am on a mission to do is to help women find their own missions, define their own missions, and then, of course, fund them, because a lot of times we have these things on our hearts, and we're like, I have to do this. This is what I'm here for. This is my purpose. And then we don't know what to do with it. Like, we don't know how to execute.
Yes.
So I use spirituality as well in my coaching program to find that divine purpose. Like, I think that we're all just constantly searching and just always searching for, like, what is the big question, right? What is the
Yeah.
meaning? Why are we here? Um, and some people go on for a lifetime without discovering that. And I like to just utilize, like you say, spirituality and just things that make us who we are, like our uniqueness, our individuality, so that we can put it all together and figure out, what are we good at? What are we not good at? What do we enjoy? What does make us happy? Do we even know what makes us happy? Sometimes we don't even know until we do some soul searching and self-discovery. And I think a lot of people need a guide on that. I know I did. I mean, I think that there's all types of therapies out there. There's, obviously psychology. There's, if you need medication, there's psychiatry. There's um, just group therapy. There's, and then coaching. Some people just need a coach. And, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, you pay for a coach? And I'm like, yeah, I pay for a coach. I pay for a coach. My coach pays for a coach. Their coach pays for a coach. And it just kind of all trickles down. And that's how we're, like, in this world helping each other. And, I think it's important. A lot of people think, like, you have to be some expert about something to be a coach. And, you certainly need to have knowledge and expertise, but, you don't have to go to school for 20 years to be a coach. You just need some life experience. And I know I certainly have a lot of that. So I like to share my traumas, not to bring people down, but to lift people up and to show them that you can come out of it and be something great. So.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's how we learn. And yes, we do all need those teachers, mentors, coaches, whatever it is that you call it. It's seeking guidance, seeking nurturing, and seeking someone that is going to help us to push ourselves to the next greatest version of ourselves. And we all need that. And the same, I always have a multitude of different people that I'm working with from various aspects, whether it's my physical body, working with somebody to help shift my physical body. I'm always enrolled in a program to further and continue my education. I work with different kind of healers slash therapists and coaches as well. Because what I have found on my journey to where I am so far is that there are so many aspects to our selves and so many different aspects that we need to work on to be able to get the results that we're looking for. So just like if we're looking to lose weight, like you don't just like change your diet. You can, and that'll do something, but usually to have the most effective change, and that when I say most effective change, I mean the change that's going to become who you are. Like it's not just something that you're practicing for a little bit or trying for a little bit. It is who you become. So you don't have to work at it in the same kind of way. Um, that takes a really, really dynamic approach. Plus, we're far more interesting than we give ourselves credit for. Like being a human is a really cool experience, but we have so many different aspects and layers to who we are and what we're made up of. We're physical, so we need to take care of our physical bodies. We're emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual beings. And there are a lot of really dynamic layers there. So when you find yourself stuck on something, which I found myself stuck a lot on many different issues, and I found myself overwhelmed quite often with anger and frustration. Like, why am I doing this for a year and I am not seeing the results that I'm going for? If anybody put a year of effort into this, they would at least see something. So why is that? And that really inspired me to look at what all the other layers are. As well as my curiosity, because I love learning, and it's really, really cool to explore all of the different modalities and methods that are out there. And the good news is they all work. It's just finding the right thing for the right time.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I heard a lot of things that you said that, are important as far as, we must always remain teachable because, I'm the same way. Like part of my just it doesn't, it's not just one aspect, like you said, it's not like just diet or just exercise or just mindset or those things. It's all the things and all the things combined. And one of those things is, like I try to spend X amount of time working on my business every day. I try to spend this amount of time on my health and wellness. And one of the things is spending a certain amount of time learning a new skill or being taught something. I'm also fascinated by human behavior. I mean, I went to college and studied psychology myself for a short time, and it's fascinating. I mean, we're all made up differently. We have all the different aspects, and that's the other thing you said. We're so interesting, and it's so true. I'm working on a huge project right now. It's a book series and a docu-series called Empower Her. And we're also looking for, women to join us to be part of it. And every time I talk to some, well, not every time, but oftentimes I talk to women and they're like, I don't think I qualify. And I'm like, qualify for what? Like you're a woman, you have a voice, you have a story, you absolutely qualify. What you have to say is so important. Like somebody needs to hear it. So, I definitely agree with you there. And yeah, it's like we do these things, we put our efforts in for so much time and we invest time and money into things and we have the outcomes already set up in our mind. But then sometimes there is like another I'll just call it like a divine intervention or something where things don't turn out the way we set out for them to. And life happens and things don't always go as planned. And one thing that we have to do is remain teachable and be able to adapt and shift so that, you know, we can take a step back and say, like, okay, what's not working? What do I need to change? Maybe within myself, what in the environment needs to change? Like sometimes we just have to do that. And, you know, somebody I had spoken to the other day, she had a quote and I really enjoyed it. And she said, if you don't take care of your body, where will you live? And I loved it because, you know, I'm an advocate for health and wellness. My husband and I, over the course of the past 4 years, have lost over 300 pounds together. Um,
What?
many
That's
years.
amazing. You
Yeah.
can't just say that and then move on. That
Yeah.
that is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you know, it's not like you said, just like, okay, change what you eat or anything like that, or do some fad diet, like lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Could I lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks? Absolutely. Is it going to be sustainable? No. I'm going to gain it back and then some when I go back to the way I was eating before. So you know, it's like you have to, you know, incorporate all types of different things to, you know, for years I abused my body with food, with alcohol, and, you know, then doing that soul searching and making those inner changes and figuring out like who I am, what my purpose is. And now, you know, planting the seeds and watching, you know, obviously a tree doesn't grow overnight, but watching the results after years of self-discovery and self-love that, you know, I didn't always have. And now watching what has become of it and being able to help other people. I mean, and it sounds like, you know, you do some of the same things in your work. And I love it. Like I love um all of it. And, you know, I'm curious to know, like, who is your avatar? Like, who do you typically help? Or, you know, do you have one? Or is it anybody? Or is it, you know, dialed down? Like,
Well, I just go with like who tends to come to be my client, like who comes to me, who finds me. Because yes, I mean, I know that, you know, from the marketing perspective, there are niches and you should target your message to these particular people. But, you know, the industry is changing. Consciousness is changing. We're all changing as human beings, as you know, we tend to do. And I believe that we're in that cycle right now where people are just more interested in authenticity, and how I pick is I just be me. This is me. This is my journey. These are the tools that I use. This is what I do. So if you're interested in being on a healing journey, then I invite you to work with me. And so who tends to work with me are fellow entrepreneurs, are conscious parents. And when I say conscious parents, I just mean that people that are interested in looking at parenting from a more like spiritual, maybe emotional, and certainly more thoughtful perspective. Like how do I do this? I want to be really responsible, and I want to take responsibility as this, and I'm interested in breaking cycles. I'm interested in examining some behaviors and leaders. So when I say that, I mean the people who are looking to create something big and have impact in the world, and they've already had a lot of success in their life, and they're looking for that next level thing, that project where they can more give back and create a legacy. I like to call it a legacy of love.
yes, I absolutely love that. You know, as a founding member of the Women's Impact Network, you know, it's a huge network of entrepreneurial women who are basically what you just described. And, you know, some people see, you know, success and they think like, that's it, job's done. But it's like, no, there's no destination. It's a constant journey. So we constantly need to level up. And That's wonderful. Really, really powerful stuff. I love what you're doing. You know, you're doing amazing work. And where can people find your books?
They can find my books on Amazon, that wonderful platform where you can do anything. It's such an amazing time to be an author because I started my journey over 15 years ago. I always knew I wanted to be an author. I love books. I love them. I'll read textbooks, like I'll read anything. I love books and I love that holding them and the smell of them, being in old libraries. I love them.
That's awesome.
But when I started a long time ago, it was still in the era of, if you want to be an author, you definitely need to find a publisher, or if you want to self-publish, you have to buy, X number amount of books, and usually that would be about 10,000 copies. That was sort of the standard amount. And now they do print on demand, which is
Amazing.
so amazing. So if you have ever felt inspired to write a book and you always wanted to be an author, do it. You can do it now. I mean, I also do that. I also help authors to get started and or to finish their book. That was not an intended thing for me. Just as with this podcast, it was just like, I've done it. So this is how you do it. And I actually really enjoy the process, especially from a coaching perspective, because there's a whole bunch of limiting beliefs, a whole bunch of patterns that come up along the process. And it was a really unique, creative way to help people clear patterns and move beyond themselves and to see themselves in such a different lens, becoming the creator, becoming the author. That is really, really, really special.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know, back in 2020 when I first had my twins and, we were all like homebound, I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to get on the internet and figure some stuff out here. And I looked into it and I have boy girl twins and there are not a whole lot of books for boy girl twins. So I said, I would like to look into it. And I assumed that I needed a publisher. So I'm looking into it. I'm like, hold inventory, 10,000 copies. And I did all that. And then I went on Amazon and they were like, oh, self-publish your book. It's not going to cost you a thing. And I'm like, what? And I did it. I wrote and I self-published a children's book for my twins on Amazon. And I think I sold like, I don't know, 10 copies and like
That's
eight of them,
amazing.
and eight of them were my family, but I didn't market it. So it was like, that's the other aspect of it. But
Yes,
but it's like I
you
did
learn
it.
all the aspects. You
Yeah,
did
it's like
it.
it's
You
something that
did
I did.
it.
And now I've been, through all of the amazing networking that I've done over the course of the past several years, I am working with an amazing publishing company to put out some books. But I mean, you can do it. Anybody can, if you have that in your heart and it's something you want to do, jump on Amazon and do it.
Yeah, you can do
Um,
anything. Like the whole
yes,
point
you
of
can.
that is like, I think that we're experiencing even here in this conversation, just a little bit of the back and forth of the things that you yourself have overcome.
Absolutely.
Um, and and the things that you can put out into the world is really that anything is possible. So what's in the way? The thing in the way is just you. And
Oh,
that's good
100%.
news
It is.
because you can work on you and you can change you. And it really is just the programs, just the thoughts, just the self-imposed or religiously imposed or familially imposed or whatever that is. But it's just things, just ideas, just thoughts that you thought were the only way, or thought that that's what it was, or that's what it is. And it can be that, and it also can be something else. So you can
Definitely.
do anything. You really can.
If you can think it, you can do it. I mean, this is how we
Yeah.
invent things. This is what it is. If you dream it, you can do it. It sounds so cliche, but it is so
Yes.
true. It really
Yeah.
is.
It doesn't mean that it is easy. I will say that along
No,
the way, the steps are simple. Like example in doing the Amazon book. Okay, well, there's this step, this step, this step. You have to read through all the stuff. You have to, make the content. You have to make it fit. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of figuring it out. But the whole point is it's not impossible. It's
exactly.
doable, and it's not super hard, but it is work,
Yes. Yeah,
and
I definitely
it is
there's
work.
learning curves and
Yeah.
I did when I was even for like a children's book, like I had to learn things about I wasn't an author. I wasn't ever I didn't know much about being published or anything. It's like you can only have a certain amount of pages in a book. Like it has to be like either 8 or like some kind of multiples of 8. I don't even remember, but there's like some guideline for like what you can publish, and I had no idea. But I love the fact that I took the time to learn it because it's just another thing that I accomplished, and it makes you feel good when you accomplish things that you set out to do, right?
Oh my God, you feel I feel amazing. You feel amazing. Yes, when you do these things, and that really is just trusting yourself and keeping promises to yourself. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's I said I was going to do this, and I did it. I made myself as important as everything else in my life. And I did this thing, and now I can trust myself, and now I can celebrate these things that I have created on top of that. But I think the biggest part is keeping your word to yourself and loving yourself enough to do that.
Loving yourself enough to do that. Yes, that is 100% true. I love it. Lainey Love, thank you so much for joining me today. And I will make sure that the listeners have all of your links so that they can click and find you and get your books. And is there anything you want to leave the audience with today?
Thank you so much for having me. It was really great to get to know you and hear about all of the wonderful accomplishments that you have created so far in your life. You're such a shining example of what it is to be in commitment and in loving yourself. I love that. And if anybody is interested in connecting with me, you can easily do so. I was so blessed to get my website name to be my name, Lainey,
Awesome.
LAINNE.com. And you can go ahead and you can book a call. I offer that to podcast listeners. You can book a half an hour free call, and maybe I can help you, give you some great steps that you can take to start making some changes in your life today.
There you go, everybody. Book a call, Lainey.com, and see what she has to offer because she definitely has a lot to offer. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.